Look at the sheer scale of Silicon Valley. Billions of dollars flow through these corporate campuses every year, deployed to build digital fortresses that no outsider can breach. Inside these buildings, security is a physical reality. Redundant servers stretch across climate-controlled rooms, guarded by elite engineering teams and complex encryption protocols designed to stop any attack cold. Now, travel roughly 8,000 miles away to the neighborhoods of Sana'a, Yemen. Here, stable electricity is a luxury, and a consistent internet connection is practically a miracle. In this environment, a young man sat in front of an old, heavy CRT monitor. He had no corporate backing, no state-of-the-art hardware, and no formal training. The digital world relies on endless capital to build its walls, yet the most severe vulnerabilities in those walls are often found by individuals working with absolutely nothing but human ingenuity. So how does a self-taught teenager operating with zero funding manage to trigger an absolute panic inside one of the most heavily guarded networks on Earth? He didn't launch a massive brute force assault. Instead of trying to smash the door down, he found a way to slip a single, invisible command through a specific processing error the engineers hadn't accounted for. We often assume power online belongs to the entities that own the largest data centers. In reality, it belongs to those who understand how to bypass the rules those data centers run on. Without access to expensive cybersecurity courses, he built his knowledge by scouring underground forums. He spent his nights reading, reverse engineering software, and failing over and over again until the code started to make sense. This is a textbook example of resource asymmetry. When you lack the raw computing power to overwhelm a target, you have to rely on extreme precision, finding a single, sharp path through an otherwise overwhelming labyrinth of corporate security. He began to actively hunt for microscopic blind spots, the tiny gaps in logic that highly paid, exhausted engineers inevitably overlook. Operating under severe physical limitations trained him to see the internet differently. He viewed these systems through the lens of their specific failures, treating a multi-billion-dollar network as a collection of individual, exploitable bugs. He decided to test his skills against a massive tech giant. For hours, he sat in his room, meticulously analyzing the global data traffic flowing through their servers, searching for a single error. And then he found it, a tiny flaw the company had missed. A few keystrokes later, he was inside. No alarms rang, no screens locked, just a quiet entry into one of the most secure networks on the planet. He felt a sudden sense of terror rather than triumph. Sitting alone in the dark, he realized the profound weakness of the infrastructure holding up our modern world. A successful exploit rarely requires impossibly complex code. It usually just requires a defender to make one simple oversight. On the other side of the planet, the corporate monitors finally lit up. Red screens flashed, emergency protocols triggered, and global engineering teams scrambled to understand how their perimeter had been breached. They were facing what's known as a silent breach. The intruder wasn't stealing customer data, destroying files, or holding servers hostage for crypto. He was just sitting inside, watching everything. For the engineers, this causes existential dread. If someone can bypass your perimeter without triggering any initial alarms, they theoretically have the access to manipulate absolutely anything in your system. A tense cat-and-mouse game began. The corporate teams tried everything to track down the digital ghost, while he countered their moves by hiding behind deep, complex layers of encryption. But the pressure was mounting, sleep deprivation set in, and in a fraction of a second of hesitation, the hacker made a human error. His real IP address flashed across the screen. To protect a global network, defenders must maintain absolute perfection continuously across millions of lines of code. An attacker only needs the defender to make a single mistake. The moment his location leaked, the hacker vanished. He shut down his accounts, abandoned his devices, and completely erased his digital footprint from the internet. Today, his exact fate is a mystery. Some believe he quietly fled. Others suspect he was recruited by shadow agencies, operating right now under a new alias. Whether he escaped or was caught doesn't really matter. That brief, quiet intrusion proved that a lone, unresourced actor can humble a global tech giant. Modern cyber warfare serves as a significant equalizer. It allows a single individual to bypass the traditional advantages of a nation's military budget or its physical infrastructure. The applications you use on your phone right now, the banking software you trust, parts of their code were rewritten specifically to defend against ghosts just like him. Power in the 21st century no longer requires a physical fortress. It now rests with the solitary, unseen mind that refuses to surrender to its constraints.